The farmer offers 5 million, but the disabled beggar sets a shocking condition. In the heart of a small town, whispers travelled faster than the wind. A farmer, hardened by years of toil and tears, had promised a staggering sum, $5 million, to anyone who would take on an unimaginable role. A disabled beggar caught wind of this offer, and the air buzzed with the suspense of the impossible condition he set. He asked, "Will you become the ghost of my lost love?" The townsfolk gasped, eyes widening as this bizarre story unfurled like a twisted flower in late bloom. At the edge of town, Rita, a passionate gardener with a soul heavy from past losses, was lost in her own world. Her garden was both her sanctuary and her prison, a riot of colours and scents that spoke of beauty yet whispered of neglect. Sunlight dipped low, casting long shadows between the vibrant flowers. The fragrance of lilac mingled with damp earth, and the loud chorus of crickets filled the air, urging. Then one fateful day, David, a frazzled father with dark circles under his eyes that spoke of sleepless nights, approached her. "I'll give you $1 million, he said, breathless with desperation. "I need you to step into the role of my wife, now gone, for the sake of my daughter." Rita's heart raced, an electrifying mix of dread and excitement coursing through her. Could she really take up such a mantle? The implications weighed heavily on her conscience. Yet, as days turned into a blur, a fragile bond formed between Rita and Lily. The girl would steal glances at her, her laughter ringing like shards of glass, each sound a dagger to Rita's heart. Memories flooded back. Years of loneliness and regret wrapped around her like vines, choking her spirit. Could this young girl save her from herself? But lurking in the shadows was Grandma Mary, fiercely protective and sharp-eyed. She sensed David's desperation might lead him astray, pulling at the fibres of their family ties. Would revealing her identity shatter this fragile happiness? Then there was a knock at her door. The sound echoed ominously in the twilight, crackling like thunder in her chest. A familiar voice on the other side brought unsettling news, a shadow of doubt creeping into her heart. Could this one visitor change everything she thought she stood for? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without notice. Give that red button down below a quick check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming your way. And while you're at it, leave a powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Rita's he. It was Billy, her long-lost brother, the one she believed she'd never see again. His once friendly eyes now held a storm of emotions. Desperation, anger, sadness. "Rita," he started, his voice trembling with a mix of relief and dread. She stepped back, the air thick with history, and the weight of unspoken words hung between them, like a thread ready to snap. "What are you doing here? Her voice was barely a whisper, the shock sending chills down her spine. I thought you were gone. I thought you? Yeah, well, I'm not. I've been looking for you. You need to know the truth. His frantic expression mixed fear with determination, and Rita felt her heart tighten. She could hear Lily's laughter floating through the garden, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing just beyond her flower beds. Not now, Billy. I can't deal with this, she snapped, feeling panic rise. But he took a step closer, clenching his fists. You have to! They're coming for you. They found out you're alive. Rita paled. Oh, who's coming for me? The people we thought we left behind, he breathed, the words crashing into her like a wave. Mum and Dad, they want you back. They've been searching for years. They think you owe them. No, I left for a reason. I can't go back. The memory of their chaotic home, the arguments, the neglect, flashed through her mind. It felt like chains binding her. They don't care. They think if you return, everything will be fine again. The very idea made her sick. How could he even suggest it? Just then, the sound of a shattering glass reached her ears from inside the house, pulling her focus. Her heart dropped as she turned toward the noise. It was as if the very foundations of her life were cracking. Rita glanced back at Billy, his face a mixture of concern and regret. You need to leave now, he urged. They could be here any minute. But at that moment, everything shifted. A muffled cry came from inside the house, drowning Rita in dread. It was Lily's voice, high and terrified, rising above the crickets. Her heart raced, and she felt the earth slip beneath her feet. Lily, she shouted, rushing inside. The living room was a whirlwind of chaos. David stood rooted to the spot, a look of horror plastered across his face. In front of him, a figure emerged from the shadows, a woman with a familiar stride, eyes full of anguish and resolve. It was Anna, David's late wife. But it couldn't be. Lily was clutching a torn photograph, tears streaming down her cheeks. Why is she here, Daddy? Why? Rita's breath caught as she realized the woman was no ghost. She was alive. David's face turned pale as he looked from Anna to Rita and back again. What? The room fell silent, a stillness enveloping them all, and the realization crashed down like thunder. Secrets unraveled, lives intertwined in twisted knots of betrayal. Rita felt a whirlwind of emotions, elation, anger, fear, as panic surged within her. This can't be happening. Who are you? Anna stepped forward, shaking. I came to find you. You have to help me understand. Lily's sobs filled the silence, and Rita clenched her fists, her world crumbling. The truth flickered in the air, heavy and suffocating. This was so much more than a role to fill. This was a web of lies that threatened to ensnare them all. Could it be true? Were they all more connected than she ever imagined? Her heart raced, and the shadows closed in. Rita felt the weight of the world pressing down as Anna faced her. Lily's cries echoed in the background, sharp and chilling. This was not just a reunion. This was chaos, a storm swirling with emotions. Panic clawed at her throat. "You have to explain! Who are you?" Anna's voice trembled, but there was steel beneath her words. "I'm here because I know. I know what happened that night." The night. The night that hung over them all like a dark cloud. Rita's instinct screamed at her to run, but her feet were rooted to the spot. Lily tugged at her skirt, eyes wide with confusion. "Money?" Rita flinched. The weight of that word felt like a boulder. David looked from Anna to Rita, confusion marring his face. "What are you talking about, Anna?" Suddenly, the atmosphere crackled with tension, thick and suffocating. Rita's heart raced, pounding in her ears as uncertainty blurred her vision. Anna stepped closer, her face pale but determined. "You don't understand, Rita. We all fought. We thought you were dead." A wave of nausea hit Rita. "What? I'm not dead. I left." "No," Anna insisted, her voice rising as if trying to pierce through the fog surrounding them. "You didn't just leave. Something happened. Something I never knew until now." Rita's breath hitched. "What are you saying?" Then, with a swift motion, Anna pulled something from her pocket. A small, frayed notebook. It was open, revealing pages scrawled with a mix of frantic notes and sketches. "They're still searching for you. They connected you to everything! The fire! Your disappearance! Everything, Rita! They'll come for you if they find out you're here!" Davik's brow furrowed deeper, and he stepped between Anna and Rita. "What fire? What are you talking about?" "Rita!" Billy's voice broke through the tension. He sounded panicked, eyes darting to the windows, to the door. "We need to get out of here, now!" Suddenly, the sound of a car screeching to a halt outside cut through the rising panic. Rita's heart dropped. Who was coming? Without thinking, she turned, body moving on instinct while adrenaline flooded her system. She raced to the window and saw two men emerging from a black SUV. Dark suits, grim expressions. The kind of men who made a life out of hunting. "No, no, no!" Rita gasped, her hand shaking. "They can't be here, not now!" Anna's face paled, understanding dawning in her eyes. "We have to hide. We can't let them find you." "Mummy!" Lily cried again, clinging harder to Rita as she spun around, panic gnawing at her gut. The very walls of her life felt like they were closing in. But as they scrambled for the door, a sudden loud bang echoed through the house. A furious knock that reverberated like a gunshot. "Open up!" "We know you're in there!" A voice barked from the other side, sharp and commanding. The men were coming for her. Rita's heart raced. Everything she thought she knew was crumbling. "What do they want?" "Rita," Anna whispered, jaw clenched. "There's something you need to remember. Something that could change everything." But before she could utter another word, the door swung open, a heavy thud shaking the frame. The figure that emerged was unlike any they had expected. Her eyes locked onto a face she hadn't seen in years. "Rita!" the man said, voice deep and full of sorrow. "It's time to come home." Rita's breath hitched as recognition sent shockwaves through her. The man was a ghost of her past, a piece of shattered history she thought was lost forever. And suddenly, pieces of a puzzle she hadn't known existed came crashing into focus. "Who are you?" she gasped, horror creeping in, replacing the hope that had just flickered. The room fell silent. The menacing air thickened, and as she gazed into his eyes, it hit her. The truth was tangled in a web she could barely comprehend. Every secret, every memory she had buried was surging back. And nothing would ever be the same again. Rita's breath hitched, and time seemed to freeze as she stared at the man who'd just entered her life like a storm. Recognition washed over her, and emotions surged. Fear, anger, disbelief, all tangled into a chaotic knot in her chest. "What do you want from me? Who are you?" Her voice trembled, each word a struggle. "Rita, please," he said, his eyes pleading. "I'm not here to hurt you. You need to listen." David stepped protectively in front of Rita, instincts kicking in. "Stay away from her," he warned, fists clenched. But Anna shifted uncomfortably, glancing back toward the door, her expression a mix of fear and desperation. The man didn't flinch. He locked eyes with Rita, an intensity in his gaze. "You don't understand. You have to remember. It's all connected. Your past, their search, the fire, everything." Rita's heart spun. "What? Fire? What are you talking about?" Panic tightened around her throat. "Stop! Enough!" Billy shouted, his voice rising over the chaos. But the urgency crackled like electricity in the room. "This isn't the time for this." The knocking at the door grew louder. "Open up! We know you're in there!" A voice barked, cold and commanding. "Who are they?" Rita gasped, her eyes darting to Billy, pleading for answers. His face was pale, the weight of their shared history pressing down between them. "Rita, we have to go!" Billy insisted, moving towards the door. "No!" Anna cried, stepping forward, her voice breaking. "You can't leave! Not now! Not until you know the truth!" As if answering an unspoken cue, the door slammed open, and two men in dark suits stepped inside. They looked like wolves, ready to pounce. Eyes scanning the room, the chill from their presence palpable. Fear gripped Rita's heart. What do they want? But before anyone could respond, the man, the ghost from her past, stepped forward, his voice steady yet grave. "They've been hunting for you. They think you hold the key." The slow realization dawned on Rita, and her stomach sank. The key to what? One that could unravel everything, he said, and his words hung heavy like thunder in the silence that followed. Just then, Lily, clutching Rita's leg tightly, whispered, "Mummy, who are these men?" Innocence dripped from her voice, shattering the tension momentarily. The lead man in the suit eyed Lily critically, his sneer widening. "That's not your child anymore, Rita," he barked, eyes narrowing. "You left her. That makes her a liability." Rita's breath caught. "What do you mean?" "I'm not leaving!" Suddenly, the room shook as if a bomb had gone off. Everyone stumbled backward, and the lights flickered violently, making the shadows dance with chaos. The power surged back, illuminating the men's faces, and Rita realized there was something deeply unsettling about them. The man who claimed he knew her past leaned closer, urgency in his voice. "Rita, they won't stop until they find you. You need to remember what happened that night. You're tied to it, more than you think." A sinking feeling paralyzed her. "What's your name?" she demanded, locking eyes with him. "You're not just anyone. I know you're part of this." He hesitated, then took a deep breath. "I'm your father." Shock split the air like glass shattering. Rita's chest tightened, the weight of the revelation crashing down on her. "No! That's impossible!" she screeched, her world flipping upside down. The truth spiraled, vulnerable and raw. Memories flickered in her mind like broken film reels. Her past, she thought she'd buried, was clawing its way back into view. What did this mean for everything she'd known? Her heart raced as the men's eyes turned toward her, poised to strike, and she was left reeling in the wake of a truth that could rip apart the fragile fabric of her life. Too many questions hung unasked, the air thick with uncertainty and fear. As the seconds stretched into eternity, Rita understood that nothing would ever be the same, that her past had returned to claim its rightful place in her life, demanding answers she was terrified to discover. Rita's breath hitched, and time seemed to freeze as she stared at the man who just entered her life like a storm. Recognition washed over her, and emotions surged. Fear, anger, disbelief, all tangled into a chaotic knot in her chest. "What do you want from me? Ha 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 ha! Who are you?" Her voice trembled, each word a struggle. "Rita, please," he said, his eyes pleading. "I'm not here to hurt you. You need to listen." David stepped protectively in front of Rita, instincts kicking in. "Stay away from her," he warned, fists clenched. But Anna shifted uncomfortably, glancing back toward the door, her expression a mix of fear and desperation. The man didn't flinch. He locked eyes with Rita, an intensity in his gaze. "You don't understand. You have to remember. It's all connected. Your past, their search, the fire, everything." Rita's heart spun. "What fire? What are you talking about?" Panic tightened around her throat. "Stop! Enough!" Billy shouted, his voice rising over the chaos. But the urgency crackled like electricity in the room. "This isn't the time for this." The knocking at the door grew louder. "Open up! We know you're in there!" A voice barked, cold and commanding. "Who are they?" Rita gasped, her eyes darting to Billy, pleading for answers. His face was pale, the weight of their shared history pressing down between them. "Rita, we have to go!" Billy insisted, moving towards the door. "No!" Anna cried, stepping forward, her voice breaking. "You can't leave! Not now! Not until you know the truth!" As if answering an unspoken cue, the door slammed open, and two men in dark suits stepped inside. They looked like wolves, ready to pounce, eyes scanning the room, the chill in their presence palpable. Fear gripped Rita's heart. What do they want? But before anyone could respond, the man, the ghost from her past, stepped forward, his voice steady yet grave. "They've been hunting for you. They think you hold the key." A slow realization dawned on Rita, and her stomach sank. The key to what? One that could unravel everything, he said, and his words hung heavy like thunder in the silence that followed. Just then, Lily, clutching Rita's leg tightly, whispered, "Mummy? Who are these men?" Innocence dripped from her voice, shattering the tension momentarily. The lead man in the suit eyed Lily critically, his sneer widening. "That's not your child anymore, Rita," he barked, eyes narrowing. "You left her. That makes her a liability." Rita's breath caught. What do you mean? I'm not leaving. Suddenly, the room shook as if a bomb had gone off. Everyone stumbled backward, and the lights flickered violently, making the shadows dance with chaos. The power surged back, illuminating the men's faces, and Rita realized there was something deeply unsettling about them. The man who'd claimed he knew her past leaned closer, urgency in his voice. Rita, they won't stop until they find you. You need to remember what happened that night. You're tied to it, more than you think. A sinking feeling paralyzed her. What's your name? She demanded, locking eyes with him. You're not just anyone. I know you're part of this. He hesitated, then took a deep breath. I'm your father. Shock split the air like glass shattering. Rita's chest tightened, the weight of the revelation crashing down on her. No, that's impossible, she screeched, her world flipping upside down. Then, in that charged silence, a deafening explosion erupted outside the house. The window shattered, and debris flew through the air. Screams pierced the stillness, drowning the room in chaos. People outside ran, panic spreading like wildfire. Rita stood frozen, heart pounding, as the dust settled. The men in suits exchanged glances, their expressions betraying something deeper than just their orders. Fear flickered across their faces. Get down! Billy shouted, instinctively pulling Rita and Lily close. David stood protectively, fists raised, ready to fight. Amid the bedlam, a figure emerged from the smoke. A woman cloaked in shadows, whose eyes burned with recognition. The suit men turned, startled. They'll never stop, she cried, voice trembling but fierce. Not until they have what they seek. Rita felt her knees buckle. This woman had an aura of power that demanded attention. Who are you? Rita yelled, voice nearly drowned out by the chaos. I'm here to save you, she exclaimed, an unexpected glimmer of hope shining through the haze. But then the men lunged forward, and a shot rang out, echoing through the debris. Rita could only gasp in horror as the murky air filled with blood, a strike landing true on the woman. She staggered back, falling hard, eyes wide with shock. Rita screamed, her world spiraling into darkness. Everything she thought she knew shattered. Connections, truths, everything unraveling in an instant. Time paused, the weight of fear heavy in the air. No, she shouted, her voice raw, desperate. And in that split second, she realized the devastating truth. This was just the beginning. Rita's mind spun as she took in the sight of the fallen woman. The room echoed with a ragged breath of shock, the gravity of her father's revelation hanging palpably in the air. You're, she stammered, the weight of the world crushing down upon her. Anna, wounded and crumpled on the floor, looked up weakly. Rita, you have to listen to me. I swear, it wasn't an accident. It was... But then, before she could finish, the ground beneath them trembled. A thunderous boom resonated outside, shaking the house to its core. The lights flickered again before plunging them into darkness. Rita's heart raced as panic surged through her. What's happening? She shouted, trying to think through the noise. Around them, the chaos swelled. David held Lily tightly, his eyes darting toward the door. "We have to get out!" he yelled, and then the sound of glass shattering echoed in the distance, followed by a blinding flash through the windows. Fire flickered outside, illuminating the faces of horror inside. "They're coming for you!" the strange man shouted. "We have to leave now!" As they rushed toward the back of the house, a shrill cry pierced the air. It was Lily, her innocent sobs cutting through the tension, drawing Rita back. "Mummy, I'm scared! Don't leave me!" In that moment, everything shifted. Rita grabbed Lily, pulling her close. "I won't leave you." But then a strange realization flared in her mind. A foggy memory that sent chills down her spine. Wait! The fire! It was the night everything changed! Her father's face twisted in anguish. "No, you can't! You must forget it!" he pleaded, eyes darting around. The urgency snapped at her, and she felt a knot tighten in her stomach. "Forget? I don't even know what I'm supposed to remember!" Just then, a loud crash shook the walls. Heavy footsteps barreling down the hallway toward them. The suits were getting closer. Tension rose, and Rita's heart hammered. "What do they want?" she gasped, adrenaline surging. "Rita!" Anna cried out, struggling to get to her knees. "You have to trust me. I didn't want this for you. We thought you were dead. The truth cut deeper than any wound. I'm not dead!" she shouted, desperation spilling over. "I'm right here!" But as she looked at the man she thought she knew, doubt began to creep in. Was he really her father? Or had everything been a lie? Without warning, the door burst open. Two men in dark suits poured into the room. The edges of their mouths twisted in menacing grins. "There you are!" one of them sneered, fixing his gaze firmly on Rita. From behind them, another figure emerged. A woman bathed in flames, her hair wild and eyes blazing. "You think you can take her? You're too late!" she shrieked, and with one sweep of her arm, the flames danced around her, illuminating the chaos like hell's own lantern. The men hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing their faces. "Who are you?" one dared to ask, but Rita barely recognized her. Then the woman stepped closer. "I'm the reason you're still alive, Rita!" She gasped, and everyone stilled, confusion wrapping around them like a thick fog. For an instant, all eyes turned to Rita. A singular, electric moment of understanding. "What?" she breathed, feeling her pulse strum wildly in response to the unknown. "How could this be true?" The woman's voice trembled with urgency. "Listen, they know more than you think. They're coming for your secret." And just like that, reality fractured into 1,000 shards. The fire outlined the way forward, illuminating truth and deception. Would Rita find the courage to unravel the mystery of her life? Or would the flames of her past consume her before she could even try? Her heart raced, and as the chaos intensified, one question hung in the air. A simple, terrifying thought. What if everything she believed, everything she felt, was a carefully constructed illusion? Rita's breath caught as she stared at the woman illuminated by fire, her emotions a whirlwind of confusion. Could she truly be saving her? But before she could respond, the air thickened with tension. The men in suits exchanged wary glances. uncertainty flickering across their faces. "Rita!" the woman cried again, her voice trembling. "You have to trust me. The fire, what you remember, it wasn't what you think." The truth felt like a knife twisting in Rita's gut. "What do you mean? You're just a stranger." But it wasn't just any stranger. The woman's fierce determination burned brighter than the flames surrounding her. Rita felt a mixture of dread and yearning. Could she trust her? Could anything be true? "Mummy!" Lily cried, clutching Rita tighter. The little girl's innocent fear made Rita's heart ache. She glanced at David, who was still on high alert, eyes darting between the men and this mysterious figure. "We need to go," he insisted, urgency crackling in his voice. Then came the shattering realization. The other man, the one who had entered claiming to be her father, stepped closer, his own fear evident now. "No, you don't understand. They'll stop at nothing." "Why?" Rita shouted, desperation clawing at her voice. "What do they want from me?" But before anyone could answer, the air cracked like a whip as footsteps thundered outside. The front door flew open with a resounding crash, revealing a squad of officers clad in tactical gear, weapons drawn, faces set in grim determination. The sudden appearance of law enforcement threw everyone into disarray. "Get down, now!" one yelled, eyes scanning the room for threats. "Rita!" the man in the suit yelled, pointing a shaky finger at her. "They're here for you!" "What? Why?" Rita's heart raced, panic spiraling as the realization hit hard. The people in front of her weren't just muscle. They were the very hunters that had been lurking in the shadows. "Rita, please!" Anna called out, reaching towards her. But before she could take another step, chaos erupted. "Step away from her!" one officer shouted. But the sound of gunfire echoed through the house, cutting through the frantic shouts. Rita's world spun into chaos. She grabbed Lily and dove behind a sofa, heart pounding in her chest. Amid the cacophony, a familiar voice rang through the smoke and confusion. "Rita, look at me!" It was her father, the man who had brought her past crashing back into her life. But as her eyes locked onto his, she felt the ground beneath her shift. "You're not my father!" she shouted, anger boiling to the surface. The flicker of betrayal ignited a spark that burned bright. In that heartbeat, everything shattered. He took a step back, eyes wide as shock washed over him. "No, I am!" But before he could finish, another shout pierced the air. "She's a threat! Neutralize her!" Then, silence. Rita froze as the enormity of it hit her. In one heart-stopping moment, reality warped. The fire flickered, but now the light revealed something truly stunning. A symbol etched into the walls of the room. A mark she had seen once in her childhood books. An emblem of a century-old secret society, one that tied her family to powers beyond her understanding. With that discovery, a wave of memories hit her like a freight train. Faces like phantoms in her mind, echoed words of long-buried warnings. Images of the darkness her family had sought to hide. She realized she wasn't just an innocent bystander. She was a pawn in a dangerous game. "Rita!" Lily's little voice broke through the fog, grounding her, reminding her of the stakes. "Please, don't leave me!" In that moment, raw determination surged within her. Could she protect Lily from this chaos? The question loomed, heavy with consequences. Or more importantly, could she save herself from being pulled back into a life that had haunted her for so long? The turmoil intensified, and as the sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, Rita understood one terrifying truth. The past was not just behind her, it was very much alive. And this was only the beginning. Rita's heart pounded wildly in her chest as chaos erupted around her. She clutched Lily tighter, fear coursing through her veins. The tension was palpable. Each person held their breath, waiting for the next move. Anna was down, light fading from her eyes. The men in suits loomed. And now the officers had stormed in. Everything was spiraling out of control. "Find her!" one of the officers shouted. And suddenly, the noise of panic faded. A new, grim determination filled the air. Rita's father moved closer. "I never wanted this for you," he said, desperation lacing his voice. "You must remember the fire." The room felt like it was closing in. "What fire?" Rita yelled, frustration boiling over. "You haven't told me anything!" But she was silenced by the sound of breaking glass. The men in suits were inching closer, eyes locked on her, like predators stalking their prey. And just when it seemed everything was about to shatter, the ground shook violently beneath them. The figure of the woman, enveloped in fire, flickered before them. And in a resonant boom, the front wall exploded outward, sending debris flying and scattering chaos into the air. Dust and smoke filled the space, stinging Rita's lungs. She stumbled backward, her vision blurred by the debris cloud. From within the chaos, a scream pierced through the smoky haze. "Ro, wait!" The voice was familiar, one that sent a chill down her spine. It was her mother. Time froze again, just for a moment, as Rita's heart skipped. "Mom?" she gasped, eyes wide. The silhouette of a woman appeared, racing toward her through the wreckage, a view obscured by dust and flame. "Rita! You don't know what you're dealing with!" Her mother's voice echoed with authority. She pushed forward, hair wild, clothes torn, but determination blazing in her eyes. "Everyone's been manipulated. You don't understand your role in all of this." Confusion and disbelief washed over Rita. Her mother! It felt like something out of a nightmare. "You're alive?" The words tumbled out, raw and incredulous. "I never meant to leave you. We had to disappear. They were coming for you." Realization hit like a freight train. Rita felt the ground slip away beneath her. "What do you mean? Who is coming for me?" Her mother glanced anxiously toward the men in suits, panic flickering in her eyes. "They know. They always knew. You have something they want. Something you've kept hidden." With a sudden movement, the men lunged for Rita, but her mother stepped in front of her, arms outstretched. "No, you can't have her!" In a flash, an electric pulse surged through the air. The power of a latent force ignited as her mother shouted, "Reveal the truth!" The room convulsed as a blinding light erupted from her mother's hands, engulfing everything in its wake. Rita shielded her eyes, heart racing, as the very fabric of reality twisted and writhed. Memories, shadowed, flickers of her past danced around her, revealing images of her childhood, of warmth, laughter, and the terrible fire that she had long buried within her. Then the surge of light faded, collapsing in on itself, leaving behind an eerie quiet. Gasps filled the space as the air settled. Rita blinked, trying to make sense of the new reality before her. Standing in the centre was someone she'd never expected to see. A startling figure. Lily, the little girl, stood transformed. Her eyes shone with wisdom beyond her years, her small frame holding an aura of profound strength. "Mummy," she said softly, yet her voice echoed like thunder. Rita stumbled back. "Lily, what's happening?" "I knew all along," Lily said, her voice steady. "I'm here to protect you, but you have to face the truth." Shock surged through Rita. Everything she thought she knew shattered. "But how? You're just—" "More than you realize. You need to let go of your fear. The truth will set you free." And just like that, the world felt like it spun off its axis. It wasn't just about past secrets. It was about the power hidden within them all. As she looked between Lily and her mother, questions flooded her mind. What had she found in this chaos? The men in suits exchanged glances, confusion evident on their faces. "What just happened?" one whispered, eyes wide with uncertainty. Then, in that heart-stopping moment, the oppressive air thickened. Rita felt the weight of everything. The confusion, the secrets, the past, crackle and twist around her, setting the stage for an unmistakable truth. "Remember, Rita," Lily urged, "this is only the beginning." And as the reality of their words sank in, the lights flickered, and a profound shift settled deep within her. The ground trembled, pulling her back toward an uncertain future that held secrets she was only beginning to uncover. Rita's heart raced as she tried to grasp the whirlwind of chaos around her. The room was buzzing with electric tension. Each moment ticked slowly, stretching the air thick with fear. She held Lily close, needing the warmth of her small body as reassurance. Her mother, half-crouched, looked like she was ready to charge at the men in suits. "They're not here to protect you, Rita. They're here to take you away." The urgency in her voice cut through the confusion, and Rita felt a stab of panic slicing through her. "Stop!" one of the lead officers yelled, raising his weapon as they all squared off against the men in suits. "Everyone, get down!" Rita had just enough time to grasp that the stakes were impossibly high. The darkened room glowed with embers reflecting her mother's fire, and she momentarily felt a surge of courage. But just then, a deafening crash echoed from the back of the house, instantly shifting the atmosphere. The front door was blown off its hinges, and with it, the remnants of their tenuous safety. "Run!" one of the officers shouted. Panic surged in everyone as the room exploded with movement. Shadows darting everywhere. Rita focused on Lily, gripping her hand. "We have to go!" A whirlwind of bodies collided, and her mother reached for her hand, but never quite touched it. "Rita, you can't leave me again!" But Lily's face suddenly changed, her expression shifting from innocent to something more powerful. "Mummy, the truth!" she shouted, and then the world around them went dark. The grinding silence, so heavy it choked the air. And just as suddenly, brilliant light erupted, slicing through the shadows around them. Rita shielded her eyes, hollering, "What's happening?" Chaos filled her ears, but her voice was lost amidst an overwhelming surge of energy. The light pulsed as if it had a heartbeat. Rita stumbled backward, but was pulled forward as Lily and her mother converged towards the source. The glow intensified, and from it shapes began to coalesce. Figures of flames and shadows that swirled before her, dancing in a mockery of harmony. "Rita!" her father called again, but she barely heard him, entranced by the effulgent glow. Images flashed in her mind, moments from her past, her family fractured, the fire, her escape. Then, amongst the flickering images, she saw a face. A little girl, with eyes that mirrored Lily's. "You left me!" the girl screamed, her voice raw, echoing through Rita's soul like an old wound freshly reopened. "Who are you?" Rita gasped, feeling the ground shift beneath her as the light suddenly imploded into darkness. A chill swept through the room. When the light returned, it revealed a figure she thought she'd never see again. Her sister Emily, who had gone missing years ago. She was older now, but the pain in her gaze remained unchanged. Rita felt her heart drop. "Emily! How? You were gone! I thought—" Emily stepped forward, eyes fiercely locked onto Rita. "You need to listen. Everything is connected. You've been chosen." The tone in her voice dropped, darkness swirling around her words. "They're after us all, and the fire is just the beginning." Rita's breath hitched as she tried to process this bombshell. "Our family, you—" But then, just as quickly, Emily flickered away, like a mirage, leaving behind a dreadful tension. Everyone froze. The room held its breath, but it was the suit man behind her who broke the silence. "Now you'll really understand," he said, stepping closer, his voice smooth but deadly. "You were never just a pawn. You're the queen in this game. And now everyone knows it." Time stood still. The walls began to tremble again, not just from the chaos outside, but from the truth that rippled through the air. A reality that was unfurling, dark and twisted. The revelation tangled around Rita, stretching threads of connection too complex to comprehend. Could it be true? Were they all ensnared in a web nearly impossible to escape? And then screams erupted outside, shattering her thoughts. "They're coming!" She felt disoriented, everything shaking, uncertainties clawing at her heart as they were about to collide with the hidden forces that sought them. Would the truth save them? Or was it the very thing that would destroy them all? Rita was left trembling, staring into the vortex of turmoil before her, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. Rita stood at the center of chaos, heart racing, as the weight of the revelations bore down on her. The air crackled with tension. Shadows flickered ominously, and she felt the fear of everyone in the room. "What do you mean?" she shouted, voice trembling but filled with a fierce determination. "What fire? What have you hidden?" Her mother, eyes blazing, pleaded. "Rita, you need to let go of the past. They're hunting you because you hold the key." The men in suits shifted, wary, muscles tense. One of them sneered. She doesn't even know what she is. Panic surged as Rita grasped Lily's small hand tighter, pulling her close. They're lying! Panic twisted her insides. Lily's innocent gaze searched Rita's face. Mummy, we need to help everyone! Suddenly, a wave of chaos swept through the room as the officers moved aggressively, shouting orders. Stop! Get down! A deafening crash echoed, sending furniture tumbling. Upturned chairs and shattered glass littered the floor, chaos reigning in every corner. The man Rita once thought was her father lunged forward, desperation clawing at his features. You have to trust me, Rita. They want to erase us! Then everything shifted again. A brilliant flash burst from the corner of the room, illuminating the chaos. A shadow emerged. Her sister, Emily, face etched with purpose. Follow me! We need to escape! Without thinking, Rita grabbed Lily and sprinted toward the back exit, fueled by adrenaline and the overwhelming need to protect her. Emily led the way, shouting, "This way!" Outside, the air was thick with smoke and confusion. Rita barely recognized the street before her. A flurry of scared faces running in every direction. She spotted her mother nearby, blood trickling down her arm. "Mom!" "I'm okay," her mother said, eyes fierce. "But we have to keep moving." They regrouped near an old car, but the men in suits were closing in fast. "We can't let them take you," her mother shouted, jagged breaths cutting through the urgency. Rita's heart raced as they loaded into the vehicle. "Where do we go?" she gasped, feeling the weight of decisions pressing down on her. Emily turned, determination etched into her features. "We need to find the safe house. It's our only chance." Rita gripped the door handle, uncertain. "What if they find us?" "They won't," Emily replied, voice steady. "But you have to remember, everything ties back to the fire. You're stronger than you know." As they sped away, the landscape blurred by. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, a reminder of the chaos left behind. And then, just like that, there was silence, a heavy pause as they all turned to Rita. "Rita," her mother said softly, "you need to tell us what you remember." Memories flickered through her mind like ghosts, a swirling mix of emotions, fear, anger, sadness. I remember the flames," she whispered, trembling. "They were everywhere. I thought you were gone." Emily reached over, squeezing her hand. "But you survived. We all did." A deep breath filled the car, hope mingling with lingering dread. "We're going to fix this," her mother murmured. "And we're going to do it together." But deep inside, Rita knew this was just the beginning. The fire's legacy still loomed, waiting to ignite once more. As uncertainty settled in, one thought echoed in her mind. The past was not behind her. It was alive, lurking, waiting to strike again. And that realization pulled her deeper into the mystery. Never had Rita felt such urgency, and it was then she realized how crucial their bond was in this twisted game. Her story was far from over. Now, you've journeyed with us through this labyrinth of emotions and truths. You need to subscribe now so you won't miss any more exclusive stories like this. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm and keep this adventure alive. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories. It matters more than you think. And don't wait another second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this ending. Only the true fans understand the importance of backing our community. Let's keep this wild ride going together.